What's up, brothers and sisters? It is your boy Shadrach Bennyboo here, and today I would like to welcome you guys to a brand new series on my channel called Bennyboo Breakdowns, where in this series I will be breaking down some of the tracks that I have made and released on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, etc. But before I get started, I need you all to make sure to hit that thumbs up button as hard as you can, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on that notification bell on your screen so that way you'll get notified every time I upload. So in today's episode of Bennyboo Breakdowns, I am going to break down a track that I made called Finding Time, and this is a pop rock track that I made along with both Josh and Pat, who had my help in trying to come up with their own lyrics to include in this song. So without further ado, you guys, let us get started on breaking down how we found the time to make our first trio track, shall we? So Finding Time has a total of 20 tracks that were recorded into the song, and those 20 tracks include 10 vocal tracks, 6 guitar tracks, one of them being a MIDI bass track, 2 drum tracks, one of them being a rock drum set and the other being a electronic pop drum set, and there's a one pop piano track and then one Stratosphere synthesizer track that I also included as well. So let me start off by playing you guys the intro to this song, which starts off with me arpeggiating my clean guitar right here. Alright, so I only did one recording of this one, and then I copied and pasted about 3 more tracks of it for up to like 32 bars up until the electronic drum track starts to come in bar 9. So let me play you what the track will sound like with both the clean guitar and the electronic drum set. Alright, so same thing right here for the electronic drum set. I only did one recording of this one, but I only did like about a bar of this track, and then I copied and pasted the rest of it for the next 31 bars. And so let me mute everything and play you guys with my verse 1 vocal singing over the clean guitar track.
Every day it's getting very, very weaker, and it's been giving me a big fever. All the times that's been making me crazy. Not everything in the world has just faced me. I won't let anything get in my way. After life's been such a deadly game, I'm trying to find the time so that everything will be fine.
Alright, so you guys will notice right here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vocal tracks that I made for myself. And a couple of these vocal tracks are actually backing tracks that I created not only for myself, but these backing vocal tracks are tracks that I made singing over Josh and or Pat's vocals as well. So let's go back to the intro to this song, starting with the clean guitar and the electronic drum set playing, and then playing again as my verse 1 vocals comes in.
Every day's getting very, very weaker, and it's been giving me a big fever. All the times that's been making me crazy, it's been making me crazy. Not everything in the world has just faced me. I won't let anything get in my way. After life's been such a deadly game, I'm trying to find the time so that everything will be fine.
Alright, so that's pretty much what the intro and verse sounds like. Let's get into the second part of this song. So let me mute everything and then play you the main riff of this track right here. Alright, so like what I did with my clean guitar track and my electronic drum track, I did one take of my rhythm guitar track, and then I copied and pasted it for the next 12 bars up until I get to the part where I just strum all the way in the pre-chorus section. So let's get into the second verse of this song, and I will play you my vocals with the distorted riff in it.
I'm very lost and out of place.
And then this is what my vocals
I
will
always
sound
make the
by
same
itself.
mistakes. It didn't have to come to this, 'cause there are things we all have missed.
Alrighty, so for those of you that couldn't really hear me talking over the track, I was telling you guys that I muted the main riff of this track and showed you guys what the track sounds like with just my vocals singing in it. Moving on, we're going to the first pre-chorus of this song, and I'll play you the actual sound of it first off.
I wanted to forget all this, but it just keeps on going. It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly faded.
Alrighty, so we'll mute everything, and then I will play you guys the main riff with Pat's vocals singing in the background of the pre-chorus.
I wanted to forget all this, but it just keeps on going.
Alrighty, so we'll mute that, and then this is what the pre-chorus will sound like with just Pat's vocal in it.
I wanted to forget all this, but it just keeps on going.
Alright, so what you guys might have heard right here is that in the background of Pat's vocal, you'll hear like some type of noise in the background. Let me see if I can kind of catch that somewhere in around bar 61 probably.
It just keeps on going.
Yeah, so somewhere in bar 62 is where the noise comes in the background. But that doesn't really matter. If we turn on the entire set, this is what it'll all sound like with just Pat's vocal in it.
I wanted to forget all this, but it
just keeps on going. It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly faded.
Okay, so when I turn on the whole track, you guys should not hear that background noise that was uh, existing in Pat's vocal track. So let's move on to the first part of the chorus. So this is what the first chorus will sound like with just my main vocals in it.
We're finding time to live out of our lives that's keeping us apart and breaking every single heart in this world. I will not get enough of times that are so tough. It's hard to find the way, but we're all finding time.
And then you'll see right here, I did kind of an overdub of my chorus 1 vocals, but this track that I have that says Shadrach high octave vocal is actually the part where I do an overdub of my chorus vocals, but in this track I'm singing an octave higher than what I was initially singing in the chorus right here. So I'll mute everything and play you my high octave vocal track, which is kind of like an overdub of what I did for my main vocal.
To live out of our lives that's keeping us apart and breaking every single heart in this world.
So as you guys have heard right here, I added in a little too much reverb in the background, but I wanted to do that so that I can have the ability to make this chorus part flow a lot better. So we'll unmute my main track and see what those two will sound like all together.
We're finding time to live out of our lives that's keeping us apart and breaking every single heart in this world.
And then the track will keep continuing. So let's start off in the first half of the chorus right here with just a clean guitar playing in the background.
We're finding time to live out of our lives that's keeping us apart and breaking every single heart in this world.
And then we'll unmute the rest and let's see what they all sound like right here.
In this world, I will not get enough of times that are so tough. It's hard to find the way, but we're all finding time.
So in the chorus right here, or in like 2 of the choruses of this track, I had the ability to make a transition from going from like a quiet chorus setting to a more loud chorus setting. So I kind of went from or I don't really want to say any musical terms in this video right now, but I went from like soft to loud in the chorus of this song. So moving on, I'm going to play you guys what verse 3 will sound like with just Riff and Josh's vocal in the background.
I wish I could just hold you again. I wish I could just know you then. I wish you could believe it then. I'm on the move and on the edge.
So that continues going into the second pre-chorus, and for Josh's vocal on the other hand, let me play you just his vocal first before I explain to you guys what he did.
I wish I could just hold you again. I wish I could just know you then.
Alright, so right here, when Josh first started sending me his part to have me put into the song, he told me that I didn't need to worry about mixing and mastering his vocals because when Josh recorded his part over my Finding Time demo, he actually did the mixing of his vocals himself. So you'll hear some reverb and you'll hear that I think he compressed his vocal a bit, I believe, but let me just play you his vocal parts again so that I can explain it to you guys in a much more better way.
I wish I could just hold you again. I wish I could just know you then.
So yeah, I can hear like a lot of reverb uh, being used in the background. So moving on to the second pre-chorus, I'll see right here that Pat did like a little overdub of Josh's pre-chorus vocals right here, which is what I didn't really expect to have him do in the first place, but it actually sounded kind of good when I listened to the entire track all over again before I set it for release. So let's play the second pre-chorus and I'll show you guys what it all sounds like from there.
I wanted to forget all this, but it just keeps on going.
So here what you guys have listened to is that Pat did like an overdub of Josh's vocal, and kind of like what I did in the chorus where I sang an octave higher in my vocal overdubs. Pat did pretty much the same thing where he sang over Josh's vocal an octave higher. So let me mute everything and I'll play you guys what the second pre-chorus will sound like with just Pat's vocal in it.
I wanted to forget all this, but it just keeps on going.
Oh yeah, so starting on bar 119, his vocal will sound a bit robotic, but when you hear the whole track, it won't sound that robotic. So we'll start from the beginning of the pre-chorus, and I will now play you guys what Pat's vocal will sound like with Josh's vocal being played in the background.
I wanted to forget all this, but it just keeps on going. It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly faded.
So in both the third verse and the second pre-chorus, Josh has used a lot of vibrato in his vocals, and in fact, he has, I think, used so much vibrato in his vocals in some of the songs that he makes for himself as well, and I think he'll pretty much break down how he makes his own music in his channel, which I will leave a link down below later on for you all. But let's go back to the second half of the second pre-chorus vocal, and play you guys my vocal harmonies singing over Josh and Pat's pre-chorus vocals.
It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly fading.
So yeah, we kind of sound like this little barbershop trio right here. And let me break down some of the tracks so that I can ask you guys which one you like better. So first I'm going to start off with Pat's vocal singing over my vocal harmonies in the second half of the pre-chorus.
It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly fading.
Alright, so we'll mute that one, and then I will now play you guys Josh's vocals singing over my vocal harmonies.
It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly fading.
Alrighty, so now that I've shown you what both these two vocal tracks sound like, I want to know from you guys what you think sounds better. Me and Pat's vocal in the second half of the pre-chorus, or me and Josh's vocal in the second half of the pre-chorus. So in other words, I want to know from you guys if you think I sing a lot better with Pat or if I sing a lot better with Josh. So just let me know which do you think I sing a lot better with. So moving on, we're going to go into the solo section of this one, and for this one I included 3 lead guitar tracks, starting with this one. So this is what the first half of the solo section sounds like, and now I'm going to play you guys what the second half of the solo section will sound like. Sorry. So in the first section of the solo, you'll hear me playing the first main lead of the song, the da 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 da, etc., etc. And then in the second half, you'll also hear me playing the main lead of this one, in which I created a second guitar track for and had it panned to the right. For the third lead guitar track, I did the same thing, only I had this one panned to the left, and I had to spend like so much of my time trying to think about how I was going to harmonize over the main lead of this one, the da 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 da. And so going back into the second half of the pre-chorus, let me play that to you all once again.
It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly fading.
And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play you all the second half of the solo section. So this is what the second half of the solo section will sound like with just the 2 lead guitar tracks playing in the background. Alright, so we'll turn off this track, and then I will now play you guys what my third lead guitar track will sound like by itself. in which I had it panned to the left. And it kind of took me a while, I think, to try and like think about how I was going to harmonize over my main lead track, but overall, I would say for these two lead guitar tracks, I would say it kind of resonated with what I have right here in the second half of the pre-chorus right here, the lead 3 guitar track sounding like this, etc., which almost kind of resonates with what I did in the second half of the pre-chorus, where I harmonize over both Josh and Pat's vocals as well. So moving on, let's go into the next part of this song, which includes just the pop piano track and the Stratosphere synthesizer track. So here I decided to make this part a bit bloomy, because if I play the pop piano track by itself, this is what it'll sound like. Alright, so in this track, I didn't really include any reverb for this one because I wanted to consider this Stratosphere synthesizer track as my main reverb track for this song. So as we transition on to the fourth verse, you'll hear the clean guitar arpeggiation going da 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 right until we get to Pat's vocal right here. So here is what the fourth verse will sound like with just Pat's vocal and the clean guitar.
Every day we've been waking up in hell, and we've been running up in our own cells. We've been playing this game every day, and yet not everything is gonna change. I feel like I should go and get out there, even though everyone is in fear. I'm trying to tell them all.
Alrighty, and so for verse 4, and this applies to both Josh and Pat's vocals or set of lyrics in this song, but what I did for the both of them was that the first time we both met to go over what we're going to include in this song was that I showed them a little demo of what I had for this track, and then I pretty much kind of left it up to them to decide on what type of vocals that they want to include in this track. And so the first time we came together to discuss some of the things that we want to include, it first started off with Josh having to like improvise over a certain section that I had him come into. And so I kind of like what he did in there, only I couldn't really keep track of what he's saying. So I like what he's saying, but there were like some certain parts that I would like to add into the song. And so before I had Josh and Pat send me their vocals, I sang like over their demos, or in other words, I created a set of lyrics for them to sing over. And so I went over with them sang it over the track, and then I had both of them sing over my vocals, which is kind of like a little overdub that I had right here. And I didn't notice at first, but before and after I released this track, I started realizing that, hey, I now see that this track has like a couple of overdubs. So starting with the first chorus right here, this is kind of like a little overdub of myself singing over my main vocal track in the chorus, but for this overdub track, I sang an octave higher using my falsetto voice. And then in the second pre-chorus track, you'll hear Josh singing the pre-chorus and then Pat doing an overdub of the pre-chorus, which is an octave higher than what Josh just sang. So let's go back to Pat's vocal, and I'll mute all of the tracks, and I'll just play you what it'll sound like with just Pat's vocal in it.
Every day we've been waking up in hell, and we've been running up in our own cells. We've been playing this game every day, and yet not everything is gonna change. I feel like I should go and get out there, even though everyone is in fear. I'm trying to tell them all.
Alright, so Pat, on the other hand, I scheduled a day where I can meet up with him one-on-one to go over what he wanted to include in this song. And to be honest, Pat wasn't really much of a songwriter himself, so he had to leave it up to me to kind of think about what type of lyrics he wanted to include. And so what I had him do for this one is that I had him kind of think about uh, what's happening like right now, because it's still the pandemic. Everybody is wearing masks, and a lot of people are being forced to get the vaccine when a few of them don't really feel like taking them. And so what I had Pat do was think about what type of lyrics he would come up with to help resonate the song's theme the most, which is, or in other words, Finding Time is a anthem that is trying to get people out of the world that they are living in right now, which is the coronavirus. Everybody has to wear masks, do all that other social distancing bullcrap. That's what I had Pat do for his part in this song. Uh, think about all the things that have been happening to everybody in the past, like 12 plus months from now. So that's pretty much how I was able to help Josh and Pat come up with their own set of vocals to this song. And so let's move on, and I will play you guys the last part of the song, which is the last time I'm singing the chorus.
We're finding time to live out of our lives that's keeping us apart and breaking every single heart in this world.
Alright, so you'll notice right here in the third chorus, I included a couple more backing vocal tracks. These two right there are the tracks where I do the harmonies, like etc., etc. So let me play you just these two vocal tracks that I have highlighted. Alrighty, and I think I can like hear myself doing a little bit of a vibrato in this track. Let me see if I can uh, catch that myself. Oh yeah, so from around bar 201, I did some sort of a vibrato tune in there, the oh, and then here I use my falsetto voice to do some sort of an alto vocal background to it. So going back to the beginning of the third chorus, I sing the same thing over and over again, and then I had Pat ad-lib me on this one. So this is what the chorus will sound like with just my vocal and Pat's ad-lib vocal in it as well.
We're finding time to live out of our lives that's keeping us apart and breaking every single heart in this world.
And that ad-lib vocal that I had Pat do was really great and so signature. And actually, before I had him do that, he did some sort of he did a little bit of improvising over my vocals, but like what I kind of did with Josh's verse 3 vocals, I couldn't really keep up with what he was doing at that time. So I decided to like kind of break it down a bit, and I did the same thing for Pat's ad-lib vocals, where I had him do "We're finding time," and then "We're finding time," and then it goes on for the rest of the chorus right here. So I probably mentioned here in this video that in this track, right here in the pre-chorus, we sound kind of like this barbershop trio right here. So let me play that to you like once again.
It all came down to one last kiss, but I was slowly fading.
And then transitioning onto the third chorus right here, let me play you what all four of my vocal tracks will sound like with just Pat's ad-lib vocal in it.
We're finding time to live out of our lives that's keeping us apart and breaking every single heart in this world. I will not get enough of times that are so tough. It's hard to find a way, but we're all finding time.
So yeah, I kind of liked how I made this transition from having like a little barbershop trio to having a barbershop quintet group right here, where I sing the lead vocal, Pat does some sort of improvisational ad-lib over mine, and then the next three vocals that I have right here are where I harmonize over my main vocals. So now that I have done this, I kind of have thoughts of mixing and mastering a choral group. I'm not really sure, but if I'm gonna do that, then I'm gonna have to mix and master their vocals extremely well, because I mean, I don't really know what I'm gonna get into if I were to mix and master a choir group. So moving on, let's play you the last solo of this one.
time.
So here you'll pretty much listen to the same thing as what I had in the first solo of this track, but in this part of the solo, this is where I end by singing "We're All Finding Time," and then I end by adding in a little delayed vocal effect with my main vocal. So let me play you guys what they all sound like.
We're all finding time.
So for this delayed vocal effect that I've included, I had to work extra hard to make sure that it stayed in sync with my main vocal. And what I wanted to do for my main vocal is to make sure that I wanted to say time at the same time, and I pretty much had to like practice extra harder to make sure it stayed in sync. So let me play that again.
We're all finding time.
So yeah, I did pretty good with adding in this excuse me, delayed vocal effects with my main vocal. So going into the outro of this song, you'll hear me playing the main clean guitar track, and as that's playing, you'll also hear me playing some sort of improvisational lead that I decided to include in this track. So let me play you guys what they both sound like all together. And then the lead of this track will keep going on for the next like 40 to 50 bars or so, playing pretty much the same thing because I couldn't really think of some other ways to improvise over my arpeggiated rhythm right here. So that will continue to go on up until the song will fade down all the way towards the end right here. So yeah, that's pretty much my little breakdown video of how I made Finding Time with Josh and Pat. So if you guys like this video, make sure, like I said in the beginning, to leave a like and put your questions, thoughts, and comments down below in the comments section. And I will definitely come up with more breakdown track videos very soon, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well.